So I have two children, well, three. One of them's got four legs. I have a beautiful daughter, Jamie. She lives just outside of Copenhagen. She's actually my stepdaughter, but I've known her since she was just over the age of 2, and she's given me the most beautiful, beautiful gift. God, I'm so in love. I'm a grandfather as well. Jamie
Congrats.
gave birth to a beautiful little girl, Carla.
So you were talking about the tour in Europe, and this was the first year that they said they wanted to standardize the tour, have an identity across the range. That must have been really exciting, and obviously having sort of one announcer delivering the same level of work throughout was the plan. Yes.
I don't know if that was the plan, but that's how it ended up. There definitely was a feeling that the primary objective was to give the European races an international feel and sound. Whereas previously in Germany, it was all in German with a German person occasionally speaking English. Austria, always in German with an Austrian person occasionally speaking English. Same for Switzerland, same for France, it's all in French. Spain, all in Spanish. Italy, well, there was nothing in Italy in those days, but essentially that's what happened. Even in the UK, they were English speaking, right?
Yeah.
But I've got a different accent, and that different accent gave it that international feel. Prior to me being at the UK, American Whit Raymond, who used to be the hot corner announcer with Mike Riley in Hawaii, Whit Raymond used to announce Ironman UK. So it gave it that international feel. And when they decided to create an Ironman Europe tour, because of my very good relationship with Helge Lorenz and Stefan Pechnik, because they were part of Ironman South Africa back in the day. So these are guys I'd known since 2004, 2005. And fast forward now to 2011, 2012. It was kind of like a discussion. It was like, hey, we think we could have you at a lot of events. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. The more events you have me at, the more time I can spend in Europe.
Yeah.
And if I spend more time in Europe, I can spend more time seeing my kids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is, a win-win. And the more events you give me, the less I can charge you, because the more I make in total to survive the year. And they wanted a smaller unit cost per event. So that's kind of how it started, was to have the international sound and feel. And then it was realized by creating that uniformity, you're delivering a uniform experience.
Yes.
And kind of more and more responsibility was put on my shoulders, and I had more input into how we did things. My media background, my broadcasting background, my radio, TV, magazine background. So I'm an athlete who participated in events, through the radio station, through the magazine, sponsored events, published about those events, broadcasted those events, announced at the events. So I understood being a sponsor, being involved in the event, participating in the event, and kind of like took all that whole skill set together. And even my broadcasting background, hold on, I think the speakers should be here.
Right.
And I think this is the kind of music we should play. And I think this is how we should announce. Everything's positive, everything's uplifting, everything's focused on the athlete, not focused on the announcer. So, when people say, oh, you love being in the spotlight, like, whoa, I'm not in the spotlight. I put the athlete in the spotlight.
Right.
And so we started creating a formula. And I became, I'd like to believe, valuable beyond being just on the mic. And I could tap into my other experiences and knowledge base to add value to the events. And I don't work for Ironman. Funny enough, the only person in my family that works for Ironman is my wife. Right. She's got an @ironman.com email address. I don't. I'm a contracted freelancer. But my objective was always to work at globally recognized premium endurance sports events, and to always add value to every event and every year be better. And as the Europe tour grew, so opportunities for me grew. So I went from doing 5 events, one in 2010, 5 in 2011, to about 13 in 2012. And I now average 30, 35, sometimes 40 events internationally around
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
Southern Africa, all of Europe, the Middle East, and parts of the US.
Yes.
As far as I know, I'm the only Ironman announcer who's worked on all 6 continents. I've worked in South America, in Asia Pacific, in Asia, the first 2 Ironman 70.3 events in China, and Hefei and Xiamen, in the Middle East, all across Europe, and in the North America. So all 6
Yeah.
continents. I'm quite
Yeah.
proud of that. And that happened pretty quickly. That by 2016, I'd been on all 6 continents, and I only started doing this professionally in 2010. So I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I'm proud of what this little South African boy,
of course,
has achieved
yes,
on a global stage.
And well, should you be? But one of the things that I like about you, and it's something that I noticed the first time I met you many years ago when I was attempting to finish Ironman races, is you generally, as you grow, you like to lift other people around you. And that's rare. You don't get that. A lot of people nowadays are very, very worried about their turf. Everyone thinks that what they have now, they need to hang on to it for dear life. But you've been instrumental, particularly for myself. I mean, the reason I do the Ironman stuff and the event stuff that I do is largely linked directly back to you. But you've also brought in other people and created opportunity. Talk to us more about the philosophy behind that.
I think there are various influences that impacted that and how I do what I do. Growing up in Japan, I never realized it, but I learned that success is about we, not me.
Yeah.
When I joined the radio station, nobody taught you anything. God forbid you get better than them.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in that.
Still the same.
I believe in sharing what I know. I like to work with people who are good at what they do. And if they're not good, I'm happy to impart what I know and share in the hope that they do be good. I believe that if working and surrounding yourself with good people, that was my philosophy at the radio station as the station manager, at the magazines, surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with people who complement your weaknesses, but fuel your strengths. Surround yourself with people who maybe make you a little bit nervous and keep you on your toes so that you work harder. I'm not threatened by good people. I learn from them, and it inspires me to lift my game and always be better. So I think if you share your knowledge with those around you, if you help other people achieve their goals, if you help other people be better, you as a team can achieve so much more, and you as an individual will achieve more in the process.
What do you think is the biggest innovation at Ironman races that give it that unique feel? Because Ironman feels different to any other race. When you're at an Ironman race, there's a certain level at which things are done. There's a certain vibe. There's almost like a little bit of magic in the air. What do you think creates that? Is it the venues that they choose? I suppose it's hard to put your finger on one thing.
It's a lot of things, Gordon. It's a lot of things. Racing an Ironman is an excuse to go to some of the most beautiful places in the world. You would know that.
Yeah.
It's one of my privileges as an announcer, and certainly it's a privilege as an athlete. A lot of athletes choose Ironman races as an excuse to go to a great destination. So it's spectacular destinations, fantastic courses, but it's also Ironman creates the sense of occasion. There's a big production that happens behind an Ironman. There are not many triathlons that have full road closure. Yeah, we have that. There's not many triathlons that have sound rigs big enough to host huge concerts, huge LED screens, fantastic announcers, excellent DJs, awesome music, grandstands, VIP tents, welcome banquets, awards ceremonies. It's televised, it's streamed. I think we, and I'll say we, even though I'm a freelancer, Ironman creates that sense of occasion and celebrates your occasion like no other triathlon. Finishing an Ironman is a really, really big deal. There are more than 8 billion people on this planet, fewer than 200,000 people a year cross the finish line of an Ironman. That is a big deal. That is a big deal. And Ironman does a wonderful job of celebrating your moment. Mike Riley did it the best with the words, "You are an Ironman."
Yes.
That is the ultimate exclamation mark. And I think that's something that Ironman does really, really well. I think that's one of the reasons why the brand is so incredibly successful.
One of the other mottos behind the brand is the anything is possible, and I think that creates aspirational as well as inspirational value to someone who watches it or knows someone who's done an Ironman or is standing on the sidelines volunteering to think, hey, maybe I could do that.
Ironman changed my life. Ironman got me through my divorce. Training for an Ironman and having a singular focus got me through my divorce and the kids moving overseas. When you've never done an Ironman and you look at the distances, 3.8K swim, 180K bike, marathon run in under 17 hours, in your mind, you think it's not possible. But through the process of training for it, through the process of exploring your limits, through the process of coming down the finish line, you prove to yourself that you shouldn't limit yourself as a human being.
Yeah.
And you prove to yourself that what you think is impossible actually is possible. And that's the power of Ironman. It's a wonderful metaphor for life. So long as you keep going, so long as you keep moving forward, you will get to that finish line. And as Mike Riley always says, finish what you started.
Yes.
And I think that's something that Ironman teaches us.
And it's certainly something that I never thought I could do. I remember when they first launched Ironman in South Africa, I was working for a radio station that was the original media partner. And I was standing in that press launch, which happened in our building, listening to Mr. Keith Bowler talk about this crazy sport called Ironman. And I was like, who would ever do that? And then inadvertently, I ended up doing it, which is very strange. And now, get to have the privilege of standing with a microphone in my hand and saying those iconic words.
You're the only person on this planet to have started an Ironman
and
announced an Ironman on the same day.
That's true. Yeah. And the day went horribly sideways and I had to give up after had to take a break and go and try harder after the bike, and was on the finish line, I think at 6 o'clock. And your words were, this is the earliest you've ever been on a finish line, which is, it's funny.
What can I say?
It's funny because it's true. Okay. Before we talk about family, we'll wrap it up with family. I want to talk about world championships because Kona and qualifying for a world championship event in any sport is a big deal, more so for the age group races and the professional athletes in Ironman, because it is so limited. Not everyone gets to race there. Very few people get to announce there. And yet you as a South African achieved that.
I set myself a goal when I gave up my job in 2009. I needed big goals. And one of those goals was I'd like to be an announcer at the Ironman World Championship in Kailua, Kona by 2015. I'm very happy to say I was invited to be there in 2014.
Wow.
I was the hot corner announcer, and it was mind-blowing. It was such an incredible experience. Despite the heat and the humidity, I had goosebumps for a week. After that, Diana Birch invited me back. I became part of Mike Riley's team. I became part of the banquets and the race briefings. I became part of the press conferences. Started playing a role with Mike on our lead drive on the finish line as well. And have been part of Mike's finish line team for the last couple of years as well. So very, very proud of that. Also became part of the Ironman 70.3 World Championship team. Started with Selamze in 2015, Malulaba 2016, Chattanooga 2017, the Friendly City, Nelson Mandela Bay, South Africa 2018, which was
what
amazing. A highlight.
Yeah.
And what a watershed year for 70.3 racing. So I've been part of the World Championship team properly, an audition in 2014 and properly since 2015, which is awesome for me. I've announced the WTS Grand Final in Rotterdam.
Yes.
I've announced the Volvo Ocean Race finish in St. Petersburg, Russia. I've announced the Comrades Marathon, which in itself, if you think about it,
massive,
is the unofficial world championship of ultramarathon running. And so I'm blessed, but also honored and proud to have worked at essentially what is the Olympics, what is the Formula One, what is the Soccer World Cup of endurance sports in various disciplines.
You haven't just announced them, you've also raced them. The question you get asked many times, and I'm sure you are quite proud of those achievements as well. You've actually done a couple of Ironman races yourself.
Done a couple of Ironman 70.3s in 2004 before it was called an Ironman 70.3 in South Africa. We did a test event over the 70.3 distance. That was my first Ironman 70.3. I went from sprint racing to a 70.3, nothing in between. That was quite a baptism.
Ouch.
Did Ironman Austria in 2008. It was my first Ironman. Did Ironman Austria in 2009. It was my second Ironman. I still need to do one more because I still want to go sub 12, but when, I don't know, because too busy announcing all of the races. So I'm very, having done the races helps you with your announcing. You understand what it's like to be out there. You understand the anxiety and the trepidation and the fear at the start line. You understand the exhilaration of feeling like a superhero on the bike in the early parts, and then suddenly realizing, ooh, over biking, wheels about to come off. You understand the highs and lows of the marathon. You understand that there are moments when all the voices in your head are telling you it's okay. You can stop. It's fine. There'll be another race. It's too hot. Oh, your feet are sore. Oh, your stomach's cramping. Oh, you're too thirsty. You're too hungry. You're vomiting. It's whatever. Oh, it's too cold. It's raining too much. And then you understand that sense of accomplishment and achievement when you come down what I like to call the magic carpet of the finish line.
Yes.
You'll never feel that if you don't finish.
Yeah.
And so, and having raced, I think, has helped inform my announcing. Engaging with athletes and learning their experiences, both professional and amateur, helps inform one's announcing. Because to me, I don't ever want to be Wikipedia or Google when I'm announcing. I don't want to just read out stats all day long. I want to share with the spectators, get them emotionally involved by sharing with them just that little bit I know about how hard and emotional it is to do an Ironman, the little bit I know about you or the other athletes racing, to get the spectator leaning in, to get the spectator to help you as the announcer create that sense of celebration, that worship of the heroes who come down the finish line. And the more the spectators engage, the easier it makes our jobs as announcers to make the athlete feel like a hero.
Right. Yeah, I remember. I think it was the race in East London where myself and DJ Dane were there on our own, and the stark realization hit both of us that our job as DJ and announcer is to get perfect strangers to care so much about other perfect strangers running down the finish line, because most people have one or two people that they know that's there. The rest are all, 2,000-3,000 strangers. And yet you can see, particularly at the end of a full distance Ironman race, as those last people come down the finish line, everyone in the crowd cares deeply for their success, and that is what we do, and it's what a privilege that is. Paul, before we let you go, there is another side to Paul Kaye, and that is a strong family side to you. As you spoke about your parents and the connections with your parents, and your lovely wife Kelly, but also your children, which have featured very strongly throughout this whole interview. Tell us more about, firstly, your relationship with your wife and the home that you share, and also about that relationship with your kids and where they are now.
So I have two children, well, three. One of them has got 4 legs. I have a beautiful daughter, Jamie. She lives just outside of Copenhagen. She's actually my stepdaughter, but I've known her since she was just over the age of 2, and she's given me the most beautiful, beautiful gift. God, I'm so in love. I'm a grandfather as well. Jamie gave birth to a beautiful little girl, Carla, on the 19th of November, 2021. Highlight of 2021 for me. 2022, I made regular trips to Denmark to see Carla and Jamie. I have a fantastic son. He's 23 years old soon. Sebastian, he's studying in Copenhagen at the moment. He's just been here to visit me for Christmas. And I have a fur baby. She's an American Staffy. She's 6 years old. Her name is Kona. I am very, very family oriented. If I could choose, I would spend all my time only with my family, with my beautiful wife, Kelly, with our dog, Kona, and with Jamie, Christian, and Carla, and Seb as much as possible. Added to that, I've got somebody I consider more than family. My best friend, Mark, we've been friends since 1983. We've grown up together. He would come and eat dinner at my house every night. He'd have dinner at home. My mum was an insanely good cook. And then he'd have dinner with us afterwards. My dad always used to joke that if we didn't have Mark, we'd have to keep a pet pig. My dad had a dodgy sense of humor. And Mark is like my brother, even more so. We are incredibly close. We even look alike. People think we're twins often. And his wife and his two daughters are my goddaughters, and we are family. And if I had to choose what to take with me on the desert island, it would be those names that I've mentioned now. These people, this family, La Familia, is hugely important to me, which is why being home is so flipping awesome. In between events, when I have several weeks, sometimes months off, I can indulge 100% in them.
Yeah.
But it's also what makes traveling so incredibly hard. I spend so much time away from them.
Yeah.
There's that little silver lining in that, in Europe, I can pop into Denmark and visit Jamie, Carla, Christian, visit Seb. Seb sometimes visits me with his bicycle and we go cycling and stuff like that. So family is what motivated me to do an Ironman. I wanted to come down that finish line with my kids. And in those days you could, and I did. Jamie and Seb came down the finish line with me. Seb started touring with Kelly and I in Europe during his 6 to 8 week summer holidays. He'd come to all the races with us. And it's what motivated me to work in Europe. It's what motivates me to work so incredibly hard so that I can look after my family. And it's also what motivates me to take time off.
Yeah.
To spend time with them.
Yeah. I love that. And what a great way to wrap it all up. We've come full circle. We started the interview talking about why you love being home, and we've ended it with family and the reason why you love being home. Paul Kaye, what an absolute pleasure and a privilege to have you on the show. Thank you for everything that you've done, certainly for my career and for others like me who get to be around you and grow as you do. And thank you for sharing your journey with us, man. What an incredible journey it's been.
Thank you very much, Gordon, and to all your viewers. Thank you for being at our races. Thank you for believing that anything is possible. Happy training, happy 2023, and see you on a start line, but even more importantly, on a finish line very soon.